This is a great one. He should get 1,000 likes before he begins speaking. I mean, thanks for keeping me humble. Let's just make sure we keep ourselves on the right side of the market. What's going on, everyone? Let me go ahead and get this centered here this morning. Great to see you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, I am so glad that we are here together doing our thing. It's Thursday. You know, it is a grinding week. It's a beautiful grinding week. It's a beautiful opportunity to be alive. And I'm grateful for it, grateful to share this time with you. We're going to take a look across the markets today. But you know what? Listen, thanks for all the well wishes. You guys have been so incredibly supportive this week, being there exceptionally, in thought and prayer for my wife, for the whole family. And I thank you for that. I'm grateful for that. I think I did too much. The training session was absolutely awesome yesterday. But overall, the whole day, you start feeling a little bit better. And then all of a sudden, you try to go back to your, more or less normal lifestyle and then get whacked back down. But that's okay. It's all good. We're here. I'm in no rush. Everyone here knows exactly what's going on across all markets and the reason they do. And I put experts something in the subject title here today, and that's because that's the truth. If you're following Conquering the Markets, right, you are definitely getting expert level material, the highest quality there is across the whole World Wide Web when it comes to the markets. So let's take a look at Bitcoin, 62,800. Why is Bitcoin not flying in the boom stage? Hey, listen, we could consult over here the halving tracker, right? Over here, I don't even know what's it called. Could someone give me the words of what we're looking at over here at the control station? And we're watching what's going on. This is the most recently updated chart. You can follow at Halving Tracker on Twitter. You can see that over here, over there. This is going to be a different type of session, and we're just going to go with the flow, and it's going to be a really good one. So I'm glad that we get to be here together. We can see the most updated chart was released, I don't know how many hours ago. Let's call it 12 hours ago or 24 hours ago. And you can see that we are up in this stage. Price is currently right underneath the all-time high here on Bitcoin. Getting ready for the melt your face off move. Strap in. We'll watch what else could happen over here. Some people are watching this, what looks like a, ascending triangle, looking to see what happens, pointing out that perhaps in the late November 2017, we were in a similar, especially on a log scale, similar price formation. Listen, I'm focused on what we're focused in on. We seem to get it right and definitely be the most accurate across the board. So I'm going to stick with what works over here and come down to the 8-hour with you. And you have that really nice, clean look at the markets. I shared that brief update with you yesterday afternoon as the afternoon upload, just so everyone sees how the strength here, technically, for what's going on. Bitcoin, new all-time highs. People are prone to take profits too soon. They're not prone to push their trades. Right now is when if you're not fully invested in Bitcoin, in my opinion, you're absolutely doing it wrong. And there's no way that you could be there to ride the rocket if it does go into the, melt your face off type trajectory. If you're not participating in it, as Bitcoin is now making new all-time highs above all clean breakouts over here, you have to be fully positioned in more. Again, experts only, in my opinion. But if you're not, what are you doing? Is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? People keep wondering. I mean, this seems to me to be one of the safest and best times ever to buy Bitcoin right now at 62,800. Almost want to, pick up the phone and call, mom and everyone else and be like, what are you doing? Now's the time, what's the risk to the downside? Let's take a look over here. Patience is probably the greatest risk right now to most traders out there. Patience and their lack of. They force too many decisions instead of, the words of the great legendary Jesse Livermore, I made the most money sitting on my hands, and unless you learn to be able to push that position, you're never going to get anywhere. Now's not a time for caution. What would be a time for caution? We're looking at the last resistance to set off the move over here, a break above, I'll call it 60,000. There's the breakout, the retest, the resumption off, setting this whole move off. We're right now just coming back and retesting that most recent break of resistance, which was also the last all-time high. A resumption out of here looks absolutely golden, right? What happens if we break down? When are you lightening up on your fully positioned, assuming that you're lightly leveraged, fully positioned and more, meaning you're the most aggressively positioned that you're willing to go at this particular moment, or at least I am, right? So what happens? When am I looking to fix that? When do we see any type of technical breakdown that would be worrisome? Well, I'm just putting the chart up here for you to look at. I want to see if you're able to see that, or what level that you would be looking to go ahead and lighten up on your position, you know? Everyone, thanks for spending this time together. Thanks for spending this time together, right? Patience. This is our side thinking. Everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you to the moderators. You know, I think when I posted that upload yesterday, I know that I was out there fighting the spam for a long time. I'm sure that that means you were doing 10 times the work that I was doing, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much. That's right. Grateful Thursday is really what it is, right? Let me take a look at this. I want you to take a look at this. You know, when's the first possible opportunity you lighten up your position? What would happen here to signal that we're seeing some type of technical breakdown? Now, it's not our base case by a large shot. By a large shot. After breaking out over here of the into new all-time highs, as we did over here and over here, the base case here is a strong, swift move up. When I say swift, I mean without any type of drawdown. Okay, and so far it doesn't seem to be going anywhere fast. But if you look at the daily time frame, it's exactly what you're seeing. You know, looks like we have an inside bar today, which simply means that the high is within the previous high of yesterday, as well as the low. You can see we made a lower low and a lower high and a higher low, right? Is the breakout from here to give us the next move? What would cause you to light up your position? For me, it's pretty simple. I stay above the 58,750 area, and I am fully positioned in more. Break down below that, I would just be fully positioned. I'm not really looking for that type of shakeout move anymore. Now that we've made the new all-time high, could it happen? I mean, again, I'm not looking for that right now. Always aware of the downside, always aware of my risk. The only thing that I could say that I would do, you know, if we get off later today, if price breaks below this $58,750 in that area over there, you know, do your own research, do your own due diligence. That's where I'd be go back to fully positioned, and I would move that and more. And again, asterisk, for me, that more means as most aggressively positioned as I am willing to go. You know, I have no idea what that means for you. And if you're getting, by the way, if you're getting any type of like margin call or like liquidated on a move, then you're just doing it wrong. There's never any type of liquidation. You have to watch the CTM training session, right? How to trade lightly leveraged as a base case before you even think about what's going on over there. What about if you're not trading on leverage? What happens if you're just looking to buy Bitcoin right now? Is this a good place to buy Bitcoin? You know, I think there's a lot of room, a massive amount of room to the upside during this bull market phase. I believe it's an excellent time to buy Bitcoin. I believe there's a possibility we could be trading underneath the bear market low right now, the upcoming cycle's bear market low right now, meaning, you know, next year in 2022, I don't think that we trade below this price. There's a strong possibility that's the case. That right there is also a good time to buy, but buying and looking to take advantage of this bull market phase, we haven't even come close to the parabolic move that sends us into the vertical blow off top. There is plenty of opportunity here. Yeah, not for capital gains if you're just entering now, but normal tax rate is fantastic to pay when you're making money. Nothing else to say about that. So always, and I caution you here, always expect a 30% plus drawdown when entering Bitcoin. We have some room to the upside over here. Looks like a great place to buy, in my opinion, not financial advice. All right, what else? I want to take a look. We're not going to take a look at the equity markets because we absolutely crushed that. You know, they should call this channel Market Watch, and that's that, right? And that's fun, and that's great, and there we are. But let's take a look at the dollar. Let's go over to the DXY. We can see that we're currently challenging the trend line over here. This is the trend line if we break down below it. And I'm going to show you here how we've just been watching this chart and price. And I'm going to here's the chart over here. This is absolutely so incredible. Look over here. It's our support line, right? But that's when the FOMC, we had the last FOMC meeting, and here's the dollar's reaction since coming back down and testing that level. A break below this level, right? There was Powell's speech as well. A break below this level, you would see the fundamentals lining up with the price. It's uncanny. It's absolutely amazing. That stuff gets me excited just to see pricing everything in like that. But nevertheless, we just need to focus right over here. If we lose this level, that would send us, or me, bearish on the dollar technically. You could see this trend line over here, the one that we're looking at as the main support here. If you were just to like clone it in your mind and push it down, you could see those last two touches. I prefer where my line is, and you could see price just wicking below it. I'm going to keep it there. It needs to break above this trend line coming from the most recent high in early April, April 1st, and then coming back down, touching again on the 13th of April a couple of weeks ago. A break above that trend line would set off a bullish continuation move. It's in jeopardy here of a trend change. I'm continuing to watch that. And you can see gold and silver reacting really nice as that's occurring on that weak dollar. Again, the dollar is at a point, though, where if it does hold and goes bullish, what happens to gold and silver? That will be interesting to watch. Do they continue to more track yield, the 10-year off, down into that first area of support? Again, as long as we're above 144 on the 10-year, it's got a very bullish structure in place for it. If it holds this support over here, obviously even more so. So all markets right now are at that critical juncture. Let's take a closer look at gold and then silver. Well, actually silver first, and silver is actually an active trade over here. And once we broke the trend line, this again was an early entry that we looked at. We called it an anomaly because we don't use it, but then you had the breakout, the retest, right? And then the resumption off, now making a new swing high. Silver's looking mighty, mighty strong over here. Next area of resistance is 26.32. Above that, and then she gets the opportunity to run. So gold, by the way, is still looking obviously okay with the break back into the consolidation pattern, the retest, and then resuming off that. But below this outer trend line over here, gold remains just strong neutral. Interesting to see that other players out there are picking up on this trend line. And I defer over here to Sprott, right? To Sprott Gold, Sprott Money. And by the way, Eric Sprott. So I do remember towards the top, somewhere, I guess we'll call it in September, October, Sprott was like, you got to lay off gold. They're not like just trying to talk their book. They're trying to give you a really good read on the market. That's definitely commendable. You can see over here, it's the same trend line they're watching right now. And they're basically just saying, look, we're at a really important point with the 10-year. And, it's possible that we see gold make a move over there. They're watching the same trend line that we're watching. But I want to, so again, someone who gets it right, you want to watch out for who has a history of getting it right, and then consult their opinion. You also want to be watching out for those who have a history of getting it wrong. And you want to make sure that you don't want to consult their advice. You might want to see what they're focusing on so you know what not to focus in on, right? But you want to be careful, and you want to definitely keep a track record over there. Couple of comments over here. People get really triggered by that. When I say that, there's an awesome comment. Thank you so much. Right? The short videos after market yesterday, that was simply to let everyone know I saw Bitcoin price coming off a little bit, and I wanted everyone, instead of selling and out of their good trade that they worked really hard to get into, why price structure is so bullish, to make sure that they just have a CTM look at it and then go ahead and make their own decisions. That came from the opening of our training session, so I just went ahead and put that up. Right. Over here. Over here. over here. Or maybe he's just talking about the history of being on the correct side of the market. I'm not really sure. Do we have a link for Brad's chart? We definitely do. Let me go ahead and post that for you, and then we'll come back. I was watching this over here. I'm going to put this on while I share that link over there. I'm going to watch the first, 30 seconds of over this. I feel like I'm watching an infomercial.
In this video, look at this. This bearish divergence that I showed you earlier today is right now playing out. We're seeing a correction for Bitcoin, and the whole crypto space seems to be getting a correction. Now, the question is, are we in danger or not? I'm going to show you exactly what I believe, and if you think that that sounds interesting, then I think you should watch this video.
So anyway, what else do we have going on for you over here? I have a couple of videos that I was watching yesterday. Do you ever hear this kid speak? Will Clemente? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I apologize for that. Really good stuff. This is on the Palm podcast, and you can see that you have a couple of things. Why this cycle is different is a good section to watch. The Bitcoin Renaissance is a great thing to listen to and watch. I went from why this cycle is different, and then I went to what happens this cycle. That's a good way to do that. And then after you listen to what happens this cycle, come back and listen to it's a big Bitcoin Renaissance. Definitely good to listen to. This I wanted to listen to with you. I don't remember why I bookmarked it. Let's take a look at price, and if we come back to it and still feel like going for it, we'll listen to that together. If you're here though, listening right now. Yeah. So, there's something I wanted to say about the Carl on the moon. I was not making fun of his TA. I was just making fun. It sounded like an infomercial. He was talking about divergence occurring on the 1 hour time frame. Probably if you're following someone like that, you're over trading by a large margin. But he's going ahead and he's promoting something that is for active traders, right? Like Bybit, like a derivatives exchange that he's trying to get people to trade as often as possible. Focusing on the 1 hour, there's no way that you crush the markets like we do. There's no question about that. Again, this is expert level, right? These are for those that are looking to, your desire should be the same as mine to be able to profit the most from the markets, right? And that would not entail trading on the 1 hour. And often probably your TA seems correct if you're trading off on these like small price movements, because you're flip-flopping every day. Do you notice as Bitcoin is going bullish, like as bullish as you can be, he's putting out a video about bearish price divergence. So someone's on the right side of the market and someone's on the wrong side of the market. And if you don't know any better, you really don't know any better, and it all sounds and looks good, and you're like, oh my goodness, what am I on the Shark Tank? Oh no, so there you go. What's going on with coin this morning? I guess we got to wait for the markets to open. How funny is that, right? Waiting for markets to open. We have over here, price came down all the way to 300, I think 11, maybe a little bit lower yesterday. Where it's opening up or where it's going from here, I don't know. But we were noting yesterday on Twitter, what you were watching happening was a lot of people who got in before the IPO, right? Cashing out, free money. Woo! This is what do you call it? Wall Street games. What do you want to invest in coin or do you want to invest in Bitcoin? It's up to you. Obviously I know where I'm at and why. And but if we must have only like 1,000 people in the house today. We are low on likes. Listen, if you appreciate what we're doing over here, 343 pre-market, if you appreciate, the time being spent here together, go ahead and share some love. Smash that like button. Help support the channel. It definitely does. Sorry that have been forgetting to remind you and ask you, But yeah, ARK loaded up, right? And, they're going to be right for sure. It's going higher. We talked about yesterday, quickly, briefly in the Discord, buying. I'll get the price, exactly what price was at the moment I said it, it was towards the bottom here, no? We should buy. Should you buy now? And then if it went down to 250, would you buy even more? I mean, I'm not buying, nor would I. I prefer Bitcoin. But this was a lot of people chasing up here. as price comes off and there's fear in this big red here, and understanding Coinbase and the revenue they bring in, that's like, you gotta be different than the crowd. Everyone's feeling fear down here, and we're like, boom, opportunity. Look at that beautiful candle. That's, again, expert level. And here we go. So Brad's chart looking good over here. Brad showing us yesterday, this is getting ready to explode. He highlighted these two yellow areas over here, pointing out you have similar price behavior. Like, I don't know how much of a fractal it is, but it is. Price came into the area of resistance, rejected into the support. Once it took that higher high, it exploded up. You could see the same thing into the resistance, back to the support. If price makes the move up and explodes up right now, it should be a big move. It should be a melt your face off type move. It looks like it's only a matter of time. I couldn't imagine calling out to you, there's, on the 1 hour time frame, I see the divergence that we're looking at, and Bitcoin could go down from here. And if you're using my Bybit and you're placing trades on high leverage and making me a lot of money, that's great. And there you go. You think that's TA is great, right? Yeah. Anyway, Bitcoin is bullish it could be. Watching as long as it stays above $58,750, the area of breakout, retest. This is where the move started off of. As long as we stay above there, technically here, I'm fully positioned and more. There was another thing that I wanted to show you with Brad's chart over here. Oh, options. What's today's date? Today's the 15th of April. How soon before everyone's looking towards the end of the month, the last Friday, for the options expirations? Everyone now has seen the behavior, price coming off approximately, let's call it the last week up until that date. Is the move going to happen now? Is this time going to be different? Is this going to be, since everyone's aware of it, is this going to be the first time that we see that correlation break? I have no idea. We could only watch price and continue to just, as Brad's bringing your attention to right now, this is as bullish as can be. We do expect the breakout over here. And then on that breakout, we're targeting as high as anywhere between somewhere around 74,000 and 79,000 in that area. And if that resistance holds, if that breaks, obviously, then we could be looking at a different type of price behavior during this vertical move over here. If price does break out of that channel to the upside, we could see a big move. We could even see this blue line challenging more closely towards this purple line all the way up the top of the first and the second cycle. It looks incredibly bullish, That's all I guess I'm trying to tell you. Oh, dollar, right? We were looking at the dollar together. The dollar's swift decline over here. And then you're seeing, this was as the Treasury is selling $325 billion over the next few weeks. Dollar is definitely feeling it. This is a line in the sand. That line in the sand, which is, again, the same thing that we've been tracking ourselves. So we're already there. We'll continue to watch it. And it's a big deal. If the dollar loses and breaks down from here, we could continue to see further dollar weakness. I saw something in the news today about dollar de-dollarization. Oh yeah, the U.S. is getting ready to implement more sanctions on Russia. They're deciding that they want to continue to use the dollar as a financial weapon, and that causes Russia to de-dollarize. It also causes all other world actors to take note and to understand that there's a huge risk in using this dollar, an enormous risk to it, and people don't want that risk. So they, get away from using that dollar. Trade in the yuan? Of course. Oh, trade in the euro? Yes. That's much easier, So we'll see what happens. Boom, 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 boom. What's my opinion on Pax Gold? I couldn't say I could never see myself positioning into it. It's over a certain amount. You go to their website, you could check it all out. Over a certain amount of physical gold is redeemable if you go to the gold vault in London, and it's I don't know what the amount is, but it's not a small amount. But digital, easy to move around. Yeah, depends on what your preference is, but there's no alarm signs that I see about Pax Gold that I would say to everyone, hey, listen, be cautious about this. Not at all. if we do get a further breakdown over here, and especially just look at this on the daily time frames together for a minute, right? I tried for so long not to get to change my direction over here, and then I definitely had to. We didn't make it up to the blue box, even price making a lower high over there. It's very, very bearish, and a breakdown losing this channel. You can see this channel coming back all the way to 2007, to the last crisis. We've been in this channel. Well, it started actually building the structure or beginning the structure all the way in December of 2004. So it's been going on for a long time. A breakdown over here, this could really send the dollar to take out the low from last January 2018 and at 88.40, and taking out that could send the dollar this year drastically lower. Drastically lower if we get this technical breakdown over here. We're at a big level. Now, also what we're seeing is breakout, retest. We could get the resumption off back over here. And if that does occur, and we also take out the April 2021 high, at that point, it looks like we're making a higher swing high than the September 2020 high around 94.62. So it's at a very important inflection point. This is why I bring it to your attention so everyone's aware of the massive level that we're at. It will have implications across all markets because it is always a dollar story, with the asterisk of right now, as Bitcoin's in its bull market phase, second quarter 2021, it really doesn't care. And you'll notice when the dollar strengthens, Bitcoin does as well. Sometimes when the dollar weakens, Bitcoin weakens. The correlation is not really there. Bitcoin is doing what it needs to do. It's being Bitcoin. And a weaker dollar, though, obviously, that's going to be even more jet rocket fuel here for Bitcoin, which just continues to juice up. So almost to 1,000 likes. I just want to, again, I feel like we have the best read across all markets, and that just continues to be. So we don't need, if you're following and you're putting the work in, you know exactly what's going on, right? And if you're new here, if you're jumping in and you feel like, oh yeah, then you're going to get wrecked. That's not how you play this game. This game is a thoughtful game. It is, a game of preparation. It's a game of knowledge. It's a game of experience, and that just doesn't come jumping in. You got to put the time in and the work. All right. So what are we looking at? By the way, let's take a look over this. This is great, actually. I want to share this with you. The Simon Dixon, if you ever followed his work or his channel, I like to listen to what Simon says. There was a nice interview on Real Vision with Simon. That was a good one that stands out for me. Also his YouTube channel. There's some good stuff over there. Simon is really has a good understanding of the overall monetary system and banking system. And he, I'm always looking about what happens next. Before the central bank digital currencies was even really common term out there, I've been following in 2018 the IMF releasing their white papers on it. You could see, or for whatever reason, right? We could spot trends way ahead of time. I'm looking to see now. It's clear where they're going. It's clear the move over to the digital currencies. We're expecting it to really occur, and it's going to be ignited by a crisis sometime before or by 2023, right? So obviously, my concern is always, how is that going to affect Bitcoin? Is that going to be the moment they really try to come against Bitcoin? At that, listen, it's going to happen eventually, and when it does, I just want to make sure that we're all prepared. It's not happening right now. The opposite, right? What looks like it's happening sometime, it's a natural progression. We're actually going to see an ETF approved inside the US. We're seeing massive adoption. The government right now likes what's going on with Bitcoin. They're basically supporting it and embracing it. That could change very quickly. That would change if the drop in the dollar became really alarming, and that people, because of the CPI, were able to be like, yep, now there's inflation, right? And once everyone throws their hat in and they're like, this is out of control, at that point, it could get a little bit, the government might try to make a move on Bitcoin. Obviously, we all know Bitcoin is too big, but there could be price shocks. If the US government all of a sudden, regulates on and off ramps, that could be a real big price shock in the price of Bitcoin. Again, not happening now. Boom, 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 boom. No. Jacob, we do work all the time about, on the CTM live sessions all the time, what we're doing, exiting Bitcoin over here. Yesterday's was spectacular. Really, really enjoyed it. What else are we looking at? Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you can see the massive moves Ethereum has been putting off of it. I want to review this for 1 second and just review it. It's kind of for me a little bit of fatigue. It was a little bit of fatigue on this one. We were just making the observation as we were down into the horizontal support and trend line, of where we were, whether or not people leaned into that. Could you see the trend line also? You could see the trend line over here. But for a long time, it was really just stuck in this range and it had me not attracted to it whatsoever. Anyone who is riding that coming into the next bit of resistance right now, let me flip this over into support. Hold on. You're into resistance right now. Everyone should be able to see it, that you're coming into this area. Here was a bit of resistance. It broke. It then was support. Didn't hold too long. Price came back above it and then tried to make it into resistance again. It's a light level. You can see the color is not bold. It's very light over here, but you're into that area of resistance right now. I don't have really much to add to it, but we were able to really, really focus in on Ethereum US dollar. And it might just be easier trading dollar pairs all the way through at this point, rather than focusing on altcoins versus Bitcoin, which there will be altcoin. There are times that also going to appreciate over Bitcoin, and times when Bitcoin's making a move and it's appreciating versus alts. If Bitcoin, as Ethereum comes into resistance, and if Bitcoin resumes out of this, you could all of a sudden start seeing, Ethereum gaining versus alts easily, as Bitcoin makes a big move. So, alts versus US dollar, probably something better to focus in on. But again, we covered that in great detail yesterday. And that if you haven't seen it yet, do watch the Exiting Bitcoin series, the most recently uploaded video to the CTM recommended playlist. Where does that take us? Let's listen to this over here. That's Simon. He's talking to Bill. I can't pronounce his last name. He's the Abra CEO. If you're not familiar with the Abra app, anyway, there's not really much to speak about. What type of product they offer? Is it? I don't know. You control your own seeds. That's one thing about it. You might want to look into it. I wouldn't say that I recommend it. It's not the easiest to use. I prefer BlockFi for sure. Either way, this is Bill speaking, not Simon. And Bill is talking about, what needs to be built on top of layers. No, he's talking about Ethereum here and how, let's listen to how he describes it. But this is really bullish for Ethereum. All right.
What is missing in the stack?
Well, we need a layer 2 that's scalable and that integrates with crypto in order to pay. And it's probably going to be stablecoin based at first. It's probably going to be Ethereum based at first. And it may actually be Ethereum based forever. I don't know. As long as we have a dollar, right, that you're going to want to pay in for that, what I call that, I keep using this phrase, ephemeral transaction, to explain what I mean. An ephemeral transaction is a transaction that happens quickly, one and done. I pay for my groceries, I pay for something, right? As long as the dollar is the basis for that ephemeral transaction, it probably makes sense for that to happen in a stable coin, because then I can stay in quote unquote the crypto world. And we need that layer 2 scalability in order for those payments to work for everyone. That's why I'm so excited about Visa getting into this world, because they've already laid those rails over 50 years.
And it's a great interview. I highly recommend it. Again, this is what Bitcoin did. It's Simon Dixon and Bill, I can't pronounce his name. Sorry about that. From the Abra CEO. I enjoy listening to have that really good, strong perspective of the space. I follow it from afar, but I follow Signal, right? Visa getting involved over here and using all of their rails for the adoption of Bitcoin. That's enormous. Bitcoin is not fast moving. Anyway, it's a good one. I think you should watch it. There's something else that I wanted to check out over here. It was a question that said, Bright, besides BlockFi, you started using Celsius. I feel comfortable with BlockFi. I do not feel comfortable with Celsius, zero, right? Or would I consider something else? I would not. BlockFi is definitely the lending platform that I feel comfortable with. Would I feel comfortable with Binance lending? I have no idea how they manage their risk. What about Gemini? I mean, if you're taking the risk with BlockFi, you're taking the same risk with Gemini. They have the same counterparty risk, And look, no one understand your risks, but Celsius, I don't know. I guess experts only. Do your own research. Why they need. Anyway, so where are we? 943 likes. Do we still have anyone else hanging out over here? We do. 1,700 of us hanging out, viewing the markets. Bitcoin over here, 63,000. Let me flip over to the daily time frame, and it's making that inside bar currently. It's making so far a lower high and a higher low. And we're watching as Bitcoin is trading basically unchanged on the day. Ethereum up 1.45%. Equity markets looking pretty healthy today. Let's see what coin is doing. Finding a bottom yesterday, perhaps. I don't really know. We'll find out. I would like to see, or tomorrow I'll pull up the screenshot. I don't know exactly what the price was when we said, well, it looks like a good time to step in here. And if it went down to 250, definitely would buy even more. Greg said that would never happen. Greg was definitely like 250 would never be in play. You just never know, right? 250 was one of the early rounds they had. It would have been funny to see price spike down there, and some of those who got in that cheap who didn't sell unload there. That would have been like banker games being played back on them. So what else? I was just checking in on your comments a second. Yeah, obviously you don't see volume on any of my charts. Absolutely. Let's come back in, and yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Let's listen to this guy together then, just so in case I come up with anything else I want to talk about with you. I'm gonna start with why this cycle's so different, or should we start with it's all good stuff. Let's listen.
You also you have written a piece about why this Bitcoin cycle is differently. You compared a lot of what's going on right now to past market cycles, both the bull and bear market. So explain why you think this cycle specifically is different.
Yeah, sure. So when you look at the early days of Bitcoin, it was really kind of driven by cypherpunks and people that were savvy with cryptography. And then in 2013, you had Mt. Gox and the aftermath of the compromise of that exchange. And then in 2017, it was really retail driven. And you can kind of see that on chain where coins on exchanges was steadily going up with price throughout that time. And then in this recent cycle, what really differentiates it for me is the fact that coins are being pulled off exchanges. And you can see that on chain by looking at kind of this dramatic slope downwards. And I think that's driven by a couple things. The first thing is that people are just understanding more of the importance of cold storage and taking custody of your coins, especially institutions that are piling in huge sums of money and they're not going to play around with having this counterparty risk. And the other thing as well is that miners have completely stopped selling, and you can see that on chain as well. They've actually started accumulating.
Well, we all know about the decline of why this cycle is different. Let's see about this beautiful stuff he talks about, the Bitcoin renaissance.
Think about kind of Bitcoin. You've talked a lot about this idea of a Bitcoin renaissance as well. This was a third piece that you wrote. Explain what you mean by that Bitcoin renaissance.
Yeah, sure. So I think sound money is really important. Throughout the last 10 years, we've really started to see a lot of social unrest, especially last year. And I think that's kind of indirectly related to the fact that people are getting behind via the inflationary monetary policy that's going on. And they don't understand why. They're fed up with the system. They know something's wrong, but they don't know exactly what it is. A lot of people point fingers at capitalism, but in my opinion, what it really is the inflationary monetary policy and the amount of money printing that the Fed's doing, right? If you don't own an asset, then you can't get ahead in the current environment. If you're holding just money and savings over time, you're getting destroyed through the money that the government's just printing, especially throughout the last 12 months when they've printed trillions and trillions of dollars. And so I think when you introduce a sound money, particularly one that's deflationary like Bitcoin, you re-incentivize saving and you allow people to be able to get ahead again.
I mean,
And
this
so
is this
that's
is
what
the
I really
youth,
meant by
right?
saying
You got to be positive about the future.
Bitcoin would kind of introduce this new renaissance. Is that in the
Hey,
current environment?
I'm gonna
All right, so here
I'm gonna jump over to this last part over here about what happens this cycle. Let's hear a few thoughts over here, and that's it.
the big question then is, as that happens, where do we go in this cycle? Is this a super cycle that everyone keeps talking about, and we're seeing, 500,000, $1 million in US dollar kind of exchange value? Is it, no, it's like more like a 150, 200? I don't care about the price prediction necessarily as much as just like help people understand as that supply and really it's the addressable supply, right? Kind of the available supply continues to trend down. What happens to the price?
Yeah, man, that's a good question.
So listen, this question that's being asked right now is like, okay, is this the super cycle? We're seeing Bitcoin come off exchanges as price continues to rise. Is that going to continue, and is this going to cause? This is the trillion gazillion dollar question, right? Let's take a look at his thoughts on it.
Hate not to own Bitcoin right now, right? Yeah, it's really interesting to see, as we had mentioned on kind of at the beginning of the conversation, that we have never seen this dramatic of a slope downward in coins being held on exchanges, and that the supply suffocation going on that's just persisting every day. I mean, every day I'm checking this chart and it's just continually going down. More coins are being pulled off exchanges, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's driving that. But man, I would be terrified not to own some Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, and I think part of what people are waking up to the fact is, and I jokingly talk about it as Bitcoiners aren't selling their Bitcoin, and the institutions want it, so the price has to go up to accommodate everyone.
All right. Well, either which way, good stuff. That's someone definitely happy to promote, well spoken, out there at university, thinking for himself, teaching himself, and then out there teaching others. That is really some strong stuff over there. That is the hope of the future right there. And it's a good conversation. It's good to listen to. It doesn't really offer anything that you're not aware of or don't know or understand, but it's good to hear other people talk about these things. So thank you, Carlos. Thank you so much. No way. Correct. No way. The odds, no. So it's a good question. I need to talk about it. Would I keep a quarter of my position in case we do enter a super cycle? I've talked about, about 5 to 7% odds that we enter any type of hyper Bitcoinization right now, or like that we enter into a hyperinflationary type of environment with the dollar, right? The two would at this point go hand in hand. I don't really foresee that happening. It looks like the Federal Reserve and the central banksters have a really good hold on the markets right now. They're up to the verbal intervention part, and they're Powell's playing the markets like a maestro. There's no question about that. They're doing exactly what they want them to do, and we're not seeing any types of trouble. And if we do see any type of trouble, their response is going to be to go ahead and purchase more securities, increasing QE, and assets will go up even higher. As of they have it right now, assets are going up higher. So it's really smooth sailing right now for this particular stage of Bitcoin. And again, we're always at the control center. This is the control center right over here, and this is what CTM is doing. We're making sure all systems are go at all times. And if there's a problem, we're going to make sure we're there to manage it right away. This is the most important trade that matters. Should I be focused on Lollipop coin? No, right? So either which way, that laser focus is what it takes to be able to do what we do and get it as right as we get it right, and make sure we're prepared for all situations. Waiting for the next chart update over here, waiting for the next move over here to seeing if Bitcoin is able to resume out over here. Last move, you can see the consolidation, breakout, retest, looking now to see if we resume off or not. Watching the last little bit of breakout retest, successful breakout to next. Let me take a sip of water over here. I don't want to get going. I miss you guys so much. That's why yesterday's training session, exiting Bitcoin, the move on alts into their massive move into their peak top. That was a fun one to do together. All right. What else we got going on today? Matcha. I need to order some new matcha. That's for sure. Gene posted some amazing tacos in the Discord. Gene, those tacos look so delicious. It was ridiculous. Mission control. Mission control. Oh, 5 to 7%. Yeah. So the odds of that happening, I put somewhere, I think it's generous when I say 5 to 7%. And I'll definitely be holding 5 to 7%, at the top in Bitcoin, just in case you never know what's going to happen. Always want to be prepared. But if we start seeing a super cycle, the way I'll be positioned in is on the futures markets. There's no question if Bitcoin goes off and then it does something out of market cycle, if it puts in a top and then all of a sudden we see Bitcoin making a run and trading at new all-time highs, well, I'm going to make sure I'm fully positioned in more. So we'll make sure that we're protected. The good question, really good question. You mentioned selling the top. Will there be Bitcoin to buy after the next halving event? Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's a ton of Bitcoin to buy. There's no Bitcoin shortages. We saw 500,000 Bitcoin leave exchanges. There's no problem of people getting, the problem of you being able to buy Bitcoin does not exist. Now, next cycle, is it possible, in nation states buying Bitcoin and or other central banks, at that point in time, could that be a real issue one day? Maybe. Markets are markets, they'll work itself out. There's always going to be someone willing to sell at a certain price and someone willing to buy at another, So anyway, we continue to monitor the situation, but what we see the clearest is that so far everything right here is going and continues to go exactly according to plan. Remember, right over there, right, late December 2018, I called the bottom of Bitcoin. It's on that tweet stamped right there. Not only did I call the bottom, I called from there. I said within 2 months, price will trade up to 8,400. It went up to 14,000 in 3 months, but we were right there, right on time. And then since then, everything has continued to play out exactly right on schedule, right on time. And as long as that continues, then for whatever reason, this 4-year pattern ignited by the halving event continues to play out. If at any time this model breaks, whether it breaks to the downside as it did over here in March 2020 during the liquidity crisis, at this point in time when the model was breaking, this was, okay, the reason it's breaking is because of what's going on in the markets. This is a time to actually step in and buy, and that's what we did. It wasn't, oh, wait, something's wrong here. There's been a drastic change. Sell your Bitcoin, or when the model broke over here to the upside on this double wave. If that were to happen again, well, we're going to be there to know, wait a second, now's the time to take, extra profits off the table over here, reset yourself a little bit. So as we pull back, we're able to step in and really load up, getting ready for that second wave, the massive wave and the peak of the cycle. So, this is who we are and what we do, All right, everyone. I'm going to go out some music over here. Thanks for spending the time together. What did we get? Did it make it to an hour? Almost, but, I'm here. I'm here giving my best. Today's going to be a big, big rest day because I did way too much yesterday. And that's it, everyone. Let me go ahead and play some honeymoon vocals. Both, right? Both. Thank you, Troy. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Bring this down a second. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Alan. I mean, biggest and greatest heartfelt thank you to the moderators. I know that you were working extra hard yesterday evening with the afternoon update, as you always are. Thank you for making this experience so pleasurable for us. I am really, really, really thankful and grateful for you just giving each and every day. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thanks for the great session. Thanks for spending the time together. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon.